Staff Sergeant Jennifer Anderson, and this is Soldier's Journal. Thank you for joining us as we cover stories that are all about you, the soldier. In this edition, we go to Alaska, where soldiers undergo numerous tests to strive for the coveted Expert Infantry Badge. We travel to Colorado Springs for the 2013 Warrior Games, but first we go to Spotsylvania County, Virginia, where Civil War reenactors go back 150 years to experience what it was like during the Battle of Chancellorsville.
I joined in '79.
20 fun-filled years in the Army.
In Vietnam in '69 and '70.
Infantry.
U.S. Navy, my flotilla went down into Cambodia.
I retired in 1996 as a 46 Zulu Master Sergeant.
A lot of people wonder why so many vets are reenactors. About 40% had a military term sometime in their lifetime.
These military veterans are reenacting the Battle of Chancellorsville on its 150th anniversary. Their prior service gives them insight into the differences between Army life then and now.
The weapons, the color of the uniform, everything else is the same. Hurry up and wait, hump over here, hump over there, fire a few rounds, clean your weapon, do some details.
These former service members became reenactors for different reasons.
I had two relatives from Petersburg, Virginia that fought in the 12th Virginia Infantry, and I wanted to honor them along with all veterans.
It's a hot day in June, and I'm thinking, I'm sweating to death and they're wearing wool and they must be insane, so in typical teenage logic, I said, I gotta talk to these guys. Next thing I know, it's August of that same year. It's more hot, more humid, and I'm having the time of my life.
And so one day I asked him, what's with the deal? What's the deal with these clothes, David? And he told me he was a Civil War reenactor and that he was going off to a reenactment that weekend. And asked me, he said, just you and your wife, come on up.
One retired Army veteran turned it into a family affair.
Her first words to me when I was in her camp was,
"Ew, there's a Yankee in camp."
and next thing I know, I'm married.
Next month, an estimated 4 million people are expected to descend upon the small Pennsylvania town of Gettysburg. They will gather to commemorate the 150th anniversary of the battle, which was a turning point in the Civil War. The Army broadcasting team will be there and will file reports which can be seen on Soldiers Update and heard on Soldiers Radio News. More than 200 wounded warriors from all services and the British Armed Forces competed in this year's Warrior Games held in Colorado Springs. Specialist Andrew Vidakovich brings us this wrap-up of the competition.
The Warrior Games has come to an end in Colorado Springs. For 6 days, 260 wounded, ill, and injured service members and veterans competed for the top honors. The Army earned 34 gold, 26 silver, and 21 bronze medals, with a total of 81 medals, coming in at a close second behind the Marines' 93. The Army took home 13 gold medals in swimming, 14 gold medals in track and field, and won the gold in basketball for the third straight time. Congratulations to all those who competed in this year's games. For Army Broadcasting, I'm Specialist Andrew Vidakovich.
The Marines won their fourth straight Chairman's Cup with 93 medals. The Army came in second with 81. Our congratulations to all the wounded warrior athletes. Now we move on to Afghanistan, where security, stability, commerce, and development are steps that are underway as we prepare to turn over responsibility to the Afghans. Gail McCabe has more on this report.
Good security brings stability. For the average Afghan, both qualities translate into uninterrupted trade.
You always want to use security to open up the door for governance. Once you have the governance...
Brigadier General Christopher Hughes says in this part of Afghanistan, in Regional Command South, everything comes together in Kandahar City, a connecting hub for transit, people, and their products.
Once you have a city that is a commerce hub, like Kandahar City is now, and you have the roads, and you have the infrastructure, and you have the stability of the Afghan National Security Forces, and the governance to ensure that the playing field is equal for all players, now you have a growing economy.
The economy is key to future development. Roads like Highway 1, seen here from above, is the main artery in and out of Kandahar. The scene on the ground these days is as calm and peaceful as it is in the air.
These roads that are coming in now, yeah, ISAF started them, but the beauty of it is now the ANSF and the government from Jairoa are repairing them and they're upkeeping them, and the people now are going from poppy to these beautiful sweet melons that they grow here and pomegranates they have here. There's a lot of agriculture here that could be and should be pressed to the international community. Without roads, without infrastructure, it's not possible.
He says the strength behind it all is the Afghan National Security Force, 52,000 in RC South. A professional body of soldiers and police the people recognize as their own.
They see them chasing the Taliban, and now they're starting to call them for help. And to me, that's the greatest, indicator of security.
It's a sequence, a series of events, where the door for stability is open and the future flows through. Gail McCabe, Afghanistan.
As Gail McCabe just reported, the success of our mission in Afghanistan relies heavily on the relationship soldiers have built with the Afghans. Some troops spend their entire deployments building that solid working relationship. Airman First Class Kellen Carr takes us to northern Afghanistan, where soldiers share food and say farewell to their Afghan partners.
The 3-7 Cavs Dragoon Platoon head out on what will be their final mission to meet a local police commander. En route to their destination, they pass through villages, making a few stops along the way.
There's a current project going on along his route where his checkpoints are. It's called the Route Banana Road Project. Pretty big deal for the elders and the village people that live in the area as far as getting the road graded, graveled, and paved.
Members pulling security say their stops are in support of Afghan forces that already patrol the area to keep away insurgents.
Activity started happening again, so we just made sure that they saw that there was an American presence there and got the attention of any bad guys, to say, in the area.
The Dragoon Platoon pushes on to their final checkpoint, where the platoon leaders sit down and talk with the Afghan police commander, Nez Mohammed.
Checkpoint 5, yes.
When we go out to checkpoint 5, we usually start out, greetings, how you been, what's been recent activity. As we get closer to our redeployment, we don't go out as much. They do a lot of stuff on their own, so we like to get an update of what he's been doing in and around his checkpoints, for his checkpoints.
While the platoon leaders are being briefed inside, the rest of the troops are offered Afghan cuisine outside.
Bigger bite than that. The times we do take them up on their offer, it's great hospitality. They bring it out to us. It's definitely one of those gestures of, hey, we know what you do for us, and we want to do something back for you.
As they finish their meeting, they inform the Afghan commander that it will be their last mission before a new unit takes over and the 3-7 Cav redeploy back to the States.
Going out there and seeing Nez and just the glow on his face as you tell him that you're leaving, and he's glad that you're going home, but in a sense I think it's a bittersweet moment for him as well, just for the fact that we build this relationship with our Afghan counterparts. But I think they're going to do just fine. Our replacements are coming in, they're going to pick up where we left off, and they're going to have plenty of time to prepare for U.S. Forces Afghanistan's departure in 2014.
Otherwise I would have some gift.
No, that's quite okay. You stay safe, my friend.
Sergeant Trosper says he is confident the bond forged between U.S. and Afghan forces in their area is sure to continue long after they're gone. Airman First Class Kellen Carr, Kunduz Province, Afghanistan.
After the break, we see how our soldiers are training the Afghan National Army to conduct their own live fire exercises. And we see how a four-legged combat veteran is dealing with life as a civilian. That's up next on the Soldier's Journal.
That energy drink isn't going to help you.
What do you mean?
Energy drinks contain large amounts of sugar and caffeine, and drinking them can cause fatigue, weight gain, and heart palpitations. Think about it. Do you really want to crash in the middle of your workout? Get a real boost. Eat healthy. Find out more at Operation Supplement Safety.
For official release, Family Service Members Group Life Insurance Coverage, or FSGLI, will no longer be automatically.
Service members married to other service members are no longer automatically enrolled in the Family Service Members Group Life Insurance Program, or FSGLI. Now, dual military couples married after January 1st, 2013 must apply for FSGLI coverage. Visit benefits.va.gov/insurance for details. And that's the bottom line.
Nothing says fun like a live fire exercise. Afghan soldiers are now able to step up their shooting capabilities thanks to their U.S. soldier counterparts who set them up for success.
Engines roared and weapons fired as Afghan soldiers in Zabul province completed their first combined arms live fire exercise.
The A&A are really digging it, so I mean that really says it all. As long as they're happy, I can't complain, you know.
The training tested the Afghans' ability to maneuver down a lane while engaging multiple targets. They coordinated with different elements of their company, such as their engineer platoon, who disposed of a mock IED on the lane.
The engineer platoon sergeant, he's amazing. He's picked up this stuff quite rapidly. So now it's just watch him work, and I love seeing these guys work. And these guys are doing amazing things over here, and I'm pretty confident when we leave Afghanistan, we're leaving it in good hands with these engineers.
The advanced gunnery shoot was something the 2nd Mobile Strike Force and their ISAF advisors had been planning for a long time.
We used the model of how we shoot gunnery back in the States, but we modified it to be less focused on scoring and qualification and more on building confidence and capability within the organization.
With the new gunnery lane in their possession, the 2nd MSF can now conduct training on their own to maintain their proficiency. Reporting from Zabul Province, Afghanistan, I'm Army Specialist Tim Morgan.
Now we move to Europe, where the 54th Engineer Battalion Forward Support Company train in their specific skill sets. Let's say you're downrange, traveling in a convoy outside the wire, and you have a vehicle breakdown. Time is of the essence, and repairs must be done quickly and efficiently. And oh yeah, you encounter hostile forces. Army Sergeant Benjamin Bogus provides us this report from Bamberg, Germany.
Mechanics of the FSC conduct convoy operations where they encounter hostile forces along the route. After defending against the attacks, soldiers simulate fixing a series of vehicle failures from a gas can leak to replacing an engine belt while other soldiers provide security. Army Sergeant Will Davis talks about the importance of doing the job right the first time.
If we make mistakes downrange, that puts other people's lives in danger. If we don't repair a down vehicle correctly and it breaks down when they're outside the wire, then those personnel have to halt their mission and possibly face harm's way because we didn't do our jobs correctly. So for us, we can't have mistakes when the time comes.
Fuelers and logisticians set up a simulated forward arming and refueling point for helicopters where they work together like a racing pit crew. They may not be as fast as a pro pit crew, but they are training on a system to keep them out of harm's way and to get the aircraft back in the air safely. Reporting from Bamberg, Germany, I'm Army Sergeant Benjamin Bogus, 21st Theater Systemic Command.
The Expert Infantry Badge was created in 1943 when the Army Chief of Staff, General George C. Marshall, initiated the development of an award to honor U.S. Army infantrymen. It's awarded only to soldiers who hold infantry or Special Forces military occupational specialties. Paratroopers from the 4th Brigade Combat Team Airborne, stationed in Alaska, recently faced the challenge of qualifying for the coveted EIB.
Soldiers on JBER competed in order to obtain the Expert Infantry Badge, or EIB. The EIB is presented for completion of a course designed to demonstrate proficiency in basic infantry skills.
The EIB is pretty difficult to obtain because it's a long course. It takes numerous hours to study for it, and not only that, but you have to understand each task in its entirety before you can move on to the next task.
It's a pretty big deal for the infantry. Right now, we started out with about 75 candidates for my company, and we're down to below 20, so it's a pretty tough selection process.
Right, 200, add 3,000.
I'm an executive officer, so I'm not a platoon leader anymore, but it's still important for me to show the soldiers in my company that I can come out and do the same thing that we expect them to do on a daily basis.
Well, we had 2 weeks of train up, but prior to that, we would train in any downtime we had. It's a pretty big deal, especially for someone like me. I'm non-deployed. I don't have a CIB right now, so this is a pretty big deal for me. You know, you go to a board and people look at you like he knows his stuff.
Of the 700 soldiers who competed in the course, only 136 had what it took to receive their EIB badge. This badge will help set them apart from their fellow soldiers and may help lead to promotion later down the road. Senior Airman Sarah Tracty, Joint Base Elmendorf-Richardson, Alaska.
Dogs returning from war can suffer from mental fatigue and problems just like humans do. Some of these bomb-sniffing dogs have since retired from the military after serving in Iraq and Afghanistan. Today, they're just trying to live a dog's life. In this story, we visit with one hero dog who served his country and companion well while in Afghanistan.
The dog's name is Staff Sergeant Helotus. He has been to war. He has worked long days, survived rocket blasts and firefights, and found lots of IEDs.
We went through a lot of different situations, you know, find IEDs, explosions. Helotus wound up getting rocketed one night and hit her hooch.
When dogs return from Afghanistan like Helotus, they suffer from a lot of the same struggles that humans face. Helotus wasn't performing well at work and was having trouble adjusting to being back from war. He would get frightened, start shaking, and become immobilized. In short, he had PTSD. So for medical reasons, Helotus was allowed to retire, and his handler, Sergeant Justin Haggerty, adopted him.
Bless you, boy!
Now life for Helotus is full of family, food, and relaxing on his own, well-deserved personal couch.
After we got back, I wasn't going to keep him. I was going to let another handler take him. And I couldn't do it. I had to keep him best friend. He's my best friend.
Today is a special day for both man and dog. As his handler gets promoted, so does Sergeant First Class Helotus. After all they have been through, still side by side, their friendship and the story of their bond continues. For Army Broadcasting, I'm Specialist Johnny Hudson.
After the break, we'll go around the Army to Oklahoma to see how the National Guardsmen were able to assist after a deadly tornado. And then we'll go to Hawaii to see the 25th Infantry soldiers test their skills during Bronco Rumble.
The first enlisted Vietnam combat veteran to serve as Secretary of Defense. Chuck Hagel joined the Army in 1967 and volunteered for duty in Vietnam, where he was assigned to the same unit as his brother Tom. He quickly rose to the rank of sergeant and earned the Combat Infantryman's Badge, the Vietnamese Gallantry Cross, and 2 Purple Hearts. During a patrol, Private Hagel took shrapnel to the chest when a mine exploded. His brother applied first aid to save his life. Later, Hagel would return the favor, pulling his unconscious brother out of a burning armored personnel carrier before it exploded. On February 27, 2013, Secretary Hagel made history, becoming the first enlisted Vietnam combat veteran to serve as Secretary of Defense.
So help me God.
Chuck Hagel, the 24th Secretary of Defense of the United States.
Incoming transmission.
2, 1. Did you know you can search for a job using your mobile device? The Hero 2 Hired app has everything you need to find a job. You can use the career assessment tool by answering a few questions, or you can browse industries. You can also type in your military occupation and location. See the jobs pop up and apply. Visit h2h.jobs/mobile.
Roger that.
A viewer asks, my spouse and I are vets. Can we both get a VA loan for one house? Yes, you can both use your VA loan entitlements for one house. To get started, provide your lender with a copy of your discharge forms. Go to homeloans.va.gov and search Certificate of Eligibility, or contact your VA Loan Guarantee Customer Service Office. Benefits questions? Shoot an email to yourbenefits@dma.mil.
As we go around the Army, we travel to Afghanistan, Hawaii, and Washington. But first, we go to Oklahoma.
spread out every about 10 or 15 meters.
More Oklahoma. Nearly 250 Oklahoma Air and Army National Guard troops were on hand to help with security and rescue operations following a devastating and deadly tornado. Soldiers from the 700th Brigade Support Battalion, 45th Infantry Brigade Combat Team of the Oklahoma National Guard went to work to secure a perimeter around the Plaza Tower Elementary School. The following day, soldiers from the 63rd Civil Support Team, who specialize in search and rescue operations, assisted first responders during the aftermath. Their efforts resulted in more than 100 survivors being rescued from the storm shelters and other areas where they sought refuge. Forward Operating Base Fenty, Afghanistan. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days per year, UAVs like the RQ-7B Shadow collect intelligence and provide security for troops on the ground in Afghanistan and elsewhere. The Shadow is one of several types of UAVs launched from FOB Fenty. Each machine has its own capabilities and uses. The UAVs give ground commanders a perspective on something they can't always see from a tactical operations center. This is particularly vital as the U.S. continues to advise and assist their Afghan counterparts with their country's security as the Afghan National Army prepares to take control. Schofield Barracks, Hawaii. Bronco Rumble, a company-level combined arms live fire exercise conducted to develop leaders and service members with critical thinking and tactical skills. Bronco Brigade soldiers endured some of Hawaii's hottest and rainiest weather conditions while training through blank and live fire iterations both day and night. The success of the training relied heavily on how soldiers could shoot, move, and communicate effectively through the terrain. The training was not just about the infantry, but combined the artillery, cavalry, mortars, aviation, engineers, medics, and many more elements as they deliberately attacked a simulated enemy compound. Joint Base Lewis McChord, Washington. The 7th Infantry Division is promoting the theme of resilience through fitness by hosting Bayonet Week. It's not so much about poking each other with bayonets, but rather units competing in different events. Soldiers found one event, the Ultimate Strength Competition, a real challenge. They opposed each other in matches such as weightlifting and the tire flip. But you can see the competition was not just limited to male competitors, as the women could also flex their muscles. In the end, it was soldiers from the 2nd Stryker Brigade Combat Team who proved to be Herculean. And that's a look at Around the Army. After the break, we'll go to Kabul, Afghanistan and meet a soldier whose music is boosting the morale of those around him. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
It starts with a mission, a need. First, find the thinkers. Get out of the box. Call on the team, not that team. No, no, no. Yes! The customer people, the contract people, the distribution people. Research it, plan it, negotiate it, pack it, send it, deliver it. Do it again. Do it 24/7. Do it better. Even here. Got it? Because that's how you do combat logistics.
Are you new to your installation? Want to know an easy way to find what you need? Check out militaryinstallations.dod.mil. Just select a program or service and select your installation. From here, you'll see more details including addresses and phone numbers. That's militaryinstallations.dod.mil. And that's what's happening on the home front.
Striking notes and a blend of energetic riffs followed by captivating lyrics have deployed troops listening to something unique. Army Sergeant Keith Burkhart heard one soldier boosting morale in Afghanistan.
That I'm coming home. Specialist Rory Garcia spends most of his days in Afghanistan practicing, and to him, it's not a bad gig.
I get to play guitar and for soldiers, so it's pretty cool job.
Playing guitar with 28 campaigns, 3rd Infantry Division's rock band, Rory brings a fresh sound to the troops, performing a few of his original songs.
I don't really ever get nervous anymore. I've been playing out in clubs and bars and festivals since I was 12, but there's always a sense of kind of like, are these people going to like it? Are they going to relate? Or am I going to hear crickets at the end?
And sometimes, Rory's songs write themselves.
One of my songs, Soon Enough, was written after I played the troop return ceremony, and I heard this little boy ask his mom, when's Daddy coming home? And the mom looked at her son and said, soon enough, son, soon enough. And I went back to my barracks room that night at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I wrote a song in 30 minutes. And so I'm inspired whenever, by whatever, just kind of comes to me. You kind of see the heads kind of turn. They're like, ooh, you know, something different, something I haven't heard before. They're really getting what I'm saying. And it's really cool. It's hard to describe, but it's this really cool feeling. To see their faces light up, that's all the motivation I need to do my job, and it makes me want to do it and perform for them, and it's really fun.
Army Sergeant Keith Burkhart, Kandahar Airfield, Afghanistan.
Look for us throughout the week with the latest in news about the Army on Soldiers Update. Also, check us out on radio with Soldiers Radio News on the American Forces Radio Network. That does it for this edition of Soldiers Journal. Join us again next time for the stories all about you, the soldier.